The New York Times Smarter Living editor takes on the cost of indulgence in a new article headline. Here's some money advice. Just buy the coffee. He argues that spending money on simple pleasures like a good lunch or a nice haircut will not make or break your budget. Tim Herrera is with us. Good morning. I'm really happy to hear this, that it's okay to spend that money, splurge, rather than save it.
Yeah, so I feel like there's been sort of a demonization of these tiny little everyday purchases and sort of this mischaracterization that they're non-essential. Like, are they non-essential in the fact that we'll die if we don't buy a morning coffee? Sure. But if it's something that makes people happy, something that brings joy to their lives, there's really nothing wrong with spending a couple of dollars
It's
on
a relatively small price to pay.
It's not going to break the bank.
Yeah. But isn't the argument, Tim, though, the everyday part of it? It's okay to splurge now and again, but aren't the experts, Susie Orman and others, saying, it's the everyday routine that you do that makes a difference?
And it is true that these tiny purchases can add up, and there are ways around that. And it is kind of rooted in, good advice, which is be mindful of your spending, track it, make the decision, is this something I really need? But we've just taken it to such a far extreme, and we've taken it in a way that sort of misses the broader picture that, the reason so many of us have such anxiety and stress around money is wage stagnation and implications from the Great Recession and healthcare costs and college debt loans, things like that. And so to pin all of our, stress and anxiety around money about these everyday tiny purchases really just misses the point, and it makes people feel bad about these things. It's fine to buy a coffee.
So maybe the thing standing between you and owning a home is not the avocado toast you have at lunch.
It's not the avocado toast.
To take one item, which I think the Times has written about. But if you're not going to have the avocado toast every day or the coffee every day, how many days is okay? How many days is too many?
I mean, whatever works. And, it can be really helpful and really important for people to keep a budget and be able to track their spending and know what they can spend and what they can allot to these non-essential everyday items.
You rolled your eyes when you say non-essential. You think they're essential.
They're the things that make life worth living, right?
Yes.
If you want to get a nice haircut, get a nice haircut. It'll make you feel great. If you want to join a gym, join a gym. Again, that's not something that's going to prevent you from buying.
But what if you can't afford it? What if you can't afford it?
80% of the people are basically living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
Where do you find the money? Because everybody's like, you need to save.
Yes.
Where do you save?
And it's totally true. And it really does matter what your income looks like and what your level looks like. But the biggest thing that people can do to improve their financial situation is really find a way to improve your job situation, find a better paying job. And so, we try to encourage people to kind of find new skills. How can you equip yourself to become a higher earning person, change your income? Because really, there's so many
I hear
factors.
people outside going, have you been on LinkedIn lately? Have you applied for a job?
But there's so many factors that are out of our control. We don't really have a handle on, I can't change the wider economy. But what I can do is try to equip myself so that in the future I can line up things that are going to make my situation better.
What about the question that your mom used to say when you were little, do you want it or do you need it?
And that's really the root of this, is this want versus need question. But, another part to look at that, or another way to look at that idea is your financial well-being versus your emotional well-being.
Right.
If it makes you happy and it brings you joy to, maybe splurge on a nice pair of jeans.
There's emotional need for that latte.
Exactly.
Right?
And it is a trade-off. We make those decisions, but you just have to, be okay with what you're making the decisions around and kind of go in knowing what you're going to sacrifice.
All right.
All right, Tim.
Yeah.
I want to...
Jill Schlesinger may disagree, our personal finance expert here at CBS. She might be waiting for you in the hallway.
We'll duke it out there.
Okay.
I want to see how Tim lives his life.
He does have a nice haircut.
Coffees, I will say.
That wasn't a cheap haircut.
Well, he's cut back on socks. Not wearing socks.